So we've got our title, which is the human cost of bad systems, which gives us a really good framework to work within. And the very first question, and I do think that this is right to be the first one, is when organizations say they have a people problem, how often is it actually a systems problem? Now, I love this question, but it begs me the question, are people saying they have a people problem? Let's tackle that bit first.
Yes, they are, because that's the easiest
Okay,
to
interesting.
blame the people. Um,
And with your experience, what are they framing that problem as? Like, what are we defining the people problem as?
as people not wanting to do the job properly,
Yeah, I'm
or
getting that too.
just taking it too lightly.
Yeah, not being
Because,
motivated,
yeah,
not doing it with the intensity that it needs. I'm
yeah,
getting this too. I'm absolutely hearing this, and I'm hearing it across events, and I'm hearing it across off-site conversations as well. How big a problem do you think it is?
I think it's probably bigger than people realize themselves, actually,
Yeah.
because it's just a standard way of thinking. So it's a mindset, really. I've been there myself, um,
Okay.
dealing with people who don't know how to do the work, or they're not motivated to do it properly, or want to really do it. And of course, people want to work, but if they don't know what's expected of them, that's
Yeah.
in many cases the overall problem, is that people don't know what's expected of them. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they get frustrated, and then their managers get frustrated because they are middle management, and as middle management knows that they are always in there between the top level management and then the actual field workers. So they get pressed from the top, and then they press down on the cleaners, and then the
Yeah.
cleaners leave, and then
Yeah.
top level management thinks that they have a people problem and just fire them, because we can always find new ones. But you
Yeah.
can't, can you, in this day and age? I mean, not skilled ones anyway.
Well, no, I think that's another thing that's coming out that we could probably class as under this people problem discussion. The idea that we haven't got enough people coming into the pipeline, something I hear over and over again. So I suppose it is fair to say that organisations are saying that there's a people problem. I think that part of our question is,
Also, because I think if you think you have good structures and good rules for people to follow,
yeah,
but you haven't really communicated those rules or those structures out to people, the frameworks that they have to work in.
yeah,
If you think you've communicated that correctly, it's very hard to admit that it was actually my fault because my communication was lacking. So
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
easier to blame the cleaners because they don't want to do the work, and we can always find new ones.
In a way, then it feels like the response that's happening at the moment is we have a people problem, and now my job is to make sure that those people aren't me.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
kind of a defensive position, isn't it?
Exactly.
If we admit that that the problem is the people and we are the people, we have to make sure that the problem isn't us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really interesting kind of insight as to how that's just going to cause cyclical problems, right? That's just going to keep
Yeah.
on repeating itself. So the second part of our question actually becomes really important here. When organizations say they have a people problem, how often is it actually a systems problem? And I think both of us sitting here going, yeah, I think that's the insight. It's a systems problem. But let's dig into it a little bit more. What are your thoughts? What are you seeing?
I think yes, there are systems problems, but the main problem really is that a lot of cleaning organizations don't know what to do with their systems.
Okay.
So what we're seeing when we speak to cleaning company owners and managers and directors every week and every day, and many of them, they use one app for one thing. So it's Task Monkey for just one part of the organization or one part of the
Yeah.
organization, and then Task Bird for one another part. And then it's iAuditor for audits. And that doesn't work because it's not
Yeah.
connected to anything. And
Yeah.
then time whatever for time and attendance, but that's not connected to the audits and it's not connected to the scheduling part. So all of a sudden you have 5 or 6 different systems and different logins. So not only are you double paying for features, you're also doing double the work
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
without
And you've
even
got that
realizing it.
stress of having to switch each time because the brain needs to reset when it moves from one environment to another. We know that from physical spaces, but we're not acknowledging that so much with the digital spaces. Although I think that that's becoming more talked about. Context switching is a word that now people are quite happy to discuss. So when we talk about systems, obviously from our point of view, systems are fairly synonymous with technology. But the systems that are in place when technology doesn't exist are still systems. They're just human systems or process-driven systems. So the instinct, I think, or what I'm hearing, is that technology is our salvation. Like if you apply technology because it's super cool and it's made by smart people, then you won't have these problems anymore. But I think we're both aware that that's not necessarily the case because technology tends to amplify what is already an issue.
Yeah.
So, so what does a system have to look at before you layer technology on top of it?
Well, first of all, for us in an onboarding process,
Yeah,
bringing new clients on board, it's always finding out what do you really want to do with this? What's the aim of even implementing something?
yeah.
Right from not day one, but day zero, maybe even day -1. So that's a conversation that we have very early in our
Hmm.
conversations. It's yes, this may or may not work. That's what we're here to find out.
Yeah,
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But first of all, why are we here? Because more and more often we are invited in by people who say we're drowning in systems. My
right.
brain. I spoke to a very nice lady last week who said my brain is butter. Please help me.
Yeah,
And yes, we can if you let the systems do their work and really you know what the aim is. What is the end goal of actually doing this?
yeah,
And in that sense, we help people break down what do you really want to do with it. So what's the main problem?
yeah,
Let's fix that, and then we can look at the rest of them.
yeah,
So it's really about finding out what you want to do with it, what's the end goal, and how can we then achieve it. And
yeah.
does that mean bringing on technology even? Maybe not. If you have a small team of 5, 7 cleaners, you might not need technology or an app to do anything really. You just need
Mm.
a framework, a structured framework that your
Yeah,
people can understand and can follow in the everyday operations.
yeah,
By all means, if you want an app, we can provide one. No worries.
yeah.
And we can find a structure that actually works
Can't
for you.
move for an app, like that's available.
Does it have an app? Then it works.
Yeah,
Seems to be the go-to mindset. But the challenge with that is that if that's just your mindset to say we need an app to solve this one problem or we need
yeah,
technology to solve this, you haven't really taken into account all the rest of the problems. And that's why people use one app to do one specific thing, is because you want to solve that problem right now.
yeah,
But
exactly.
the real value comes from taking a step back and finding out what do we want to do with this? How can we structure this so that people actually know once we implement it, this is what you're going to do, dear area manager. This is what you're going to do in on Wednesday when we roll this out. This is what
Mm.
you have to tell people.
Yeah.
And until you know that, it won't bring you any value.
And I think we get a bad rap when we're talking about if we're involved in software, as we both are. We kind of get a bad rap because for so long, people have been selling software as the solution that this is going to change your world, regardless of whether it actually maps into your business or not. Which, again, for the cleaning industry, for FM, for very niche specific requirements, requires very niche specific software.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting, isn't it, that we come across this world in which they're stacking all these different apps and all these different ways of doing things, but still acting a little bit surprised when that doesn't work for their businesses. But you can see what I love about it is you can see the proactiveness. You can see they're trying to solve the problem and they're trying to do it with what they've got in front of them. And I suppose that this comes to the second question that I've got on the list, which is when workforce systems are implemented badly, where does the stress actually end up? And I'm finding this bit fascinating because I don't know if this is true of yours as well, but When you have a technological system in place, and I'm just going to be really, really simple with this, when you've got to open up a form, fill it in, and send data, let's call it that. Um, if that doesn't really fit your reality, there's a whole lot of work that goes on with the humans to fit around that, to fill the gap.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're seeing here. Where does all that stress end up if the system isn't the right one?
Well, there's really only one place it can end up, and that's on the front line.
Yeah.
And that's too bad because then the frontline cleaners, workers, and the middle management, aforementioned area managers and such, will be the ones to be blamed for the failed implementation, as it were.
Yeah.
But you haven't included them on the new journey, on the tech journey that you're on. So
Yeah.
this is actually one of the most important areas to have a human tech focus.
Yeah.
Because if you don't bring in the right people at the right time, ideally as early as possible. So
Right.
bring your managers to these demos, the meetings, the presentations that people like us do.
You're going
Um,
to end up having 80 people in a room.
yeah,
Okay, let's do
I
this.
mean, I mean, restrict it to like key people, but make sure that people are on board
Yeah.
from day one. Because if it's just decided from the top that this is what we're going to do now, next week we're going to roll this out, then once it lands with the frontline workers, they're going to be like, well, we already use an app, so what am I going to do with that one?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
And it
when it's
doesn't
not,
feel like help, does it, on the front line when that
it's
happens?
just another system in place to make management seem good
Yeah.
or
And what
seem
I'm
seem
finding there is
relaxed.
that people are doubling up then. They're not abandoning the old tech, they're shadow teching it. They're
Yeah.
actually doubling up. I don't know, is this something that you see as well? Is this industry wide at this point that technology is being adopted? Or I don't know.
Well, we've had some people call us, new clients that we bring on board, and they call us and say, the app doesn't work. Why does
Right.
the app not work? We've
Yeah.
implemented, we've done this and that. And then we have the conversation maybe with the area managers, bring them on for a call and say, what do you actually do? How have you trained people in how to use this?
Yeah.
Only to realize that they haven't, or people still use their old app.
Yeah, there wasn't that well managed handover, was there?
Yeah,
Nobody got the buy-in that actually this will make their life easier. All they saw was, I now have more work to do.
exactly. And
Yeah,
it's very much a communication task, this,
yeah,
when you do something like this, is making sure that people know why to do it and
yeah,
how to do it. I mean,
yeah,
maybe back in the old days when it was just sticks and carrots, and maybe you could just tell people, do this, or you'll get the stick, or
yeah.
I would just find someone else to do the job. You can't do that anymore because people need
No,
to know why they're doing things.
and it's kind of difficult, isn't it? Because people will work around. I mean, we call it a workaround. There's a word, we've developed the word for it. People will find ways of doing things which show that they are motivated to work.
Yeah,
Like because they're trying to get the job done with
yeah,
the information that they have. And I find that fascinating. At the same point that we say that people aren't motivated, don't want to work, we're watching them make it work with their workarounds. But it's not obviously the ideal way of transitioning across from one set of tech to another. Um, what I think if we move on to that third question, I do think this is underlying it, is all that hidden work and the energy that people put into is definitely having cognitive overload. Just
mm,
the very fact that they have to live a real life and then they have to translate that into their technical digital representation of their life. There's friction in that. And I think it's because those systems don't talk to each other.
yeah,
The repetition of having to recreate your reality in lots of different systems. No wonder we're all tired.
yeah, exactly.
And I suppose it's easy for you to feel positive about that because one of your solutions is about bringing all your data in through one route, right? Because the solutions that you provide are about making sure this is your app for everything. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it is. But again, it's a realization that you have to come to. as an owner, as a director, someone who's on the top of the cake is that we need to do something about this because we can see that all this double entry, all this chasing timesheets,
Yeah.
while we actually have an app to do that, is costing us time in the other end. So it's again, take a step back, take a breather, and then look at your current tech landscape, your tech stack, as it were,
Yeah.
and then find out what do you actually need,
Mm.
and what do you need it for. Um,
Yeah.
one of the most important dialogues that we have with people is that where do you want to start and how revolutionary do you want to be in the beginning?
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So a
I like the
gradual
idea of
rollout.
capturing ambition. That's really
Yeah,
lovely.
I mean, because if we can get people talking about this is our ambition for the next year or the next 3 years, this is where we want to end up. This is our vision for the company for the next five
Mm.
years. That's great because then we can start by picking the lowest hanging fruits. Those taste the sweetest anyway, so we might as well eat those first.
Yeah.
And then we can climb higher in the tree as we phase out
How far are
or
you going
roll
to
out
take the
the
tree metaphor? I'm
I mean, as
loving
far as I
this.
can.
Okay,
I'm fully
good,
committed to it now.
good.
I think I'm out actually.
I love it. I love it.
Of true metaphors. But yeah, I mean, again, it's finding out because there is a huge amount of work being done double
Yeah.
because you're not thinking about all the systems that you have and the current landscape that you all are already paying for. Um,
Yeah. So
so
are we saying that really the goal is to merge as many of your systems into one, the whole data lake, big data? Are we endorsing that approach? Um, or are we looking for a balance? Are we looking what are we looking for, do you reckon?
we're always looking for a balance because
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
obviously, if you can collect everything in one place, then that's all good and well. But if you have functioning systems that actually make your life easy or
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
already, and it doesn't really fit into that all-in-one platform, then
yeah,
by all means, keep that spreadsheet or keep that quotation app
yeah,
for the one purpose that fits. By all means, do that, and then do all the rest. Do all the rest in one system. So collect everything that makes sense. Um, what we're trying to do is kind of create an ecosystem of
yeah.
planning rotas, making sure that people can see what they're doing on an app, reporting back hours, using those hours for payroll and invoicing, and then completing the circle with maybe an audit trail, a structured one.
Mm,
But you might only need a fraction of that to begin with, to start with,
yes,
to
yes.
bite off more than you can chew in one go.
I'm a bit concerned that we've been giving the message to everyone that more data is better data. And I know that we're all having conversations, particularly if we're in tech or working around tech, that it's the quality of the data that matters. But
Yeah.
quantity wise, I think maybe we need to switch the other way and almost say, no, 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 there's value in diminishing to bring
Mm.
down the amount of data so that it's just information that's useful. But we are seemingly, as an industry, obsessed with data.
There was actually a point made at the workplace event
Yeah.
at a panel where someone mentioned that the new hires for the cleaning industry should be data analysts.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
just sat there thinking, where are we in the industry if we're hiring data analysts? I mean, who's looking at that data? I mean, but our clients want the data. Yes, but what for?
That's a very interesting insight
What
because if we
purpose?
start hiring data analysts, then surely the cleaning industry is now creating other industries. We're keeping them afloat. So
Yes,
I,
yes.
I'm I'm quite strongly and passionately going to be saying over and over again, everything starts with cleaning operatives, cleaners. I don't mind what the vocabulary is. I will
Yeah.
fall in line with whatever anybody wants me to use vocabulary wise, but front line. And I worry that a lot of the digital well-being conversations that we have and the reasons why we're having these conversations is because we lost sight of the front line somewhere along the line. They should have the easiest interface with technology. And
Yeah.
the further you get from the front line, the more friction should kind of be allowed in a
Yeah.
way. because they have the space there for it to be a skilled area that they're working in. We can work with data more.
Yeah.
But frontline, don't you? I mean, they shouldn't be worried about data. They should just literally be living their best lives, doing their best work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Maybe documenting some things
Yeah.
that actually makes sense because that's what the client wants, and that's fine. But I think we might be putting too much pressure on the cleaners themselves.
Yeah.
So they just need somewhere where they can see what they're doing at what time when they're going home.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, most cleaners they just do the work and then they go home, and that I mean,
I mean, we
most
all
people
do.
treat their jobs that way.
Yeah,
I mean,
indeed.
I don't
Yeah.
obviously because I'm committed, but you know,
No, but
I
it's
I fully
interesting,
get
isn't
it.
it? That depends on your level.
Yeah.
We fully expect business owners, the strategists, people who's highly invested in this cognitively to
Yeah.
not leave it be, but almost everyone else has a start time and an end time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
interesting.
just the thing with clocking in and out. It's such a hot topic right now.
It is.
Clocking in and out and audits really the two main bits these days. And when you have people clock in and out, it just reinforces that I come to work and I go home.
But
So
who are we
how do
clocking in
you
and out
think people care?
for? Because our cleaners know when they've arrived and our cleaners know when they've left. So one of the interesting things about time and attendance is this surveillance aspect of it, which also adds cognitive friction. If it's not culturally a useful thing to track attendance, then
Yeah.
it will cause literally will cause stress. It would definitely have cognitive load. So does that's a different. I didn't prep you for this question, but I'm going to throw it out anyway.
Go.
Is time and attendance a healthy application of technology?
If it's easy to use, then yes.
Okay, tell me a bit
Um,
more then. Let's pretend I'm playing devil's advocate and I'm saying it's a really unhealthy thing to do to track time and attendance. All right, yeah, tell
I
me.
would agree that tracking, it's that word
Okay,
tracking that
okay, I'm
doesn't
in.
sit well with people. It doesn't sit
Okay,
well with me either,
yeah, yeah.
which is why we don't use GPS or
Okay,
geofencing when we work with time and attendance
I'm not a fan
because
of geofencing.
me neither. And
It's unreliable and it's,
much less the evil
yeah,
cousin GPS tracking,
yeah, yeah.
because that just means that people carry around in their pocket all day, they carry around a surveillance camera of sorts.
Yeah,
That's what they feel anyway.
yeah, I
So
agree.
you can explain from here until the end of time that we're not tracking you, and the only time that we track you is when you enter and exit the building.
Because people do this at home, don't they? Like, I know people will track their kids, and there might be like a family situation where you all track each other. I think there's apps you can do that, but it's a different cultural thing, isn't it? It's more of a everybody's in. We all know that this is going to be useful for us in some way. It's that tension between am I being watched or am I
Mm,
finding this useful?
yeah,
Is it useful for cleaning operatives to be tracked?
not tracked per se.
Yeah. I like the
Um,
distinction on the language. You've done well
yeah.
there. It's the tracking word that's the problem, isn't it?
It's the tracking that
Yeah, yeah.
makes the whole difference because I remember vividly. I mean, we also so just for the people who don't know, I come from cleaning. I worked operations head off in a cleaning company for the better part of a decade, more like 12 years, and lived lived the harshness of the realities of making people do what we wanted them to do.
Right.
So the way that we explain time and attendance to our people was that if you don't want us breathing down your neck 24/7, but you
Yeah.
just want to report your hours, then do that by all means. Then I won't have to drive half an hour to check up on you or see
Okay, yeah.
if you've done your work. So just clock in, clock out, take some before and after pictures, and then go home. That's fine with me. That's all we're going to use it for.
Right.
So no GPS, no nothing. Just we just need you to document your work really,
Yeah, yeah. It's a
which is also
trust-based system, isn't it?
it really is. I think there's a lot to be said for professional pride also in this whole thing. If we're talking about the human-centric workplace and all that,
Yeah.
also in technology is that if you can, as a cleaner, document this is what the floor looked like when we got here, and this
Mm.
is what it looks like now when we're leaving.
Yeah.
You can actually reinforce that professional pride that makes people want to stay with you for longer, because they know that they can really get some work done, and that people can see and they can be appreciated for the work that they actually
Yeah,
do.
and credit can be given, and people
Exactly.
can evidence what they've done,
Yeah.
but not for compliance, but for well-being.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
exactly.
really interesting twist on it. And again, you've pointed out that it's about the words we use. And I am slightly concerned that the words that we use at the moment are all compliance led because we are all adapting to procurement language.
Yeah.
Um, and that's great for procurement, but I think we're erasing people from the roles that they're working in
Yeah.
with the language, and that has a knock-on effect with their well-being. And I don't know, is that a technological issue? Have we made it worse or
It's just a basic human need to feel appreciated and
yeah,
get credit for the work that you do.
yeah.
Um,
We
I
don't
think
communicate it like that, do we? Not the
no,
use of
we
clocking in,
don't, we
clocking
don't.
out, I mean.
And I mean, just the wording clocking in and clocking out, I hate
Yeah,
as well, because
yeah, it's
that
old school management.
also gives the image of the Flintstones, like clocking in, you know,
Oh,
with the ball in the parrot's mouth saying, "You've clocked in, you've
yeah,
clocked out." I
I'm now
mean,
going to be singing that theme tune for the rest of my day. Thank you.
right, right.
Yeah, yeah, good.
It just gives you some associations. Um,
Mm, yeah, it
so
does.
it's not to say that you should call things to like hide what it actually is,
No.
like garbage removing people being called rubbish consultants or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It's so fake. Everyone can see straight
It's
through it.
not
It has
that.
no integrity.
Exactly. It's just about communicating the why. Why do you have to clock in or clock out? Why do you have to take before and after pictures? Well, first and foremost, it's because the client wanted us to.
Yes,
So there's that. So
yes.
if we want to keep the contract, we better do it. It's also about you being a lone worker.
Yeah,
So if you can document what you're doing, and
yeah.
if you can clock in and out, and we can prove to the client that you were actually there in the time that we said we would be, then you will have an easier life.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because that proof is another word that I think leads us astray. Proof of it. We spend so much time proving the work is done that it almost takes up more time than the work does.
Yeah,
So there's that kind of little paradox that I think we should
yeah,
all be talking about. And the expression, I really love it. It's a new generational one. My generation didn't come up with this expression, but that sounds like a you problem. I'm finding that expression I'm using more and more and more because is the proof the responsibility of the cleaning operative? Or is it the responsibility of the company? Because that sounds like a you problem if I'm a
mm,
cleaner.
yeah,
And that's interesting, I think, just because that's where we can see the well-being aspect, where we transfer cognitive load or stress or hidden work. We transfer it down from top down.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that
Well,
one?
I think the top management would always agree that it's a you problem if you don't have a job, which you won't if you don't do this.
Yeah, no, that
Because the
sounds like
clients
command and
told us to.
control. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
it's
Yeah,
top level, middle management, and then the frontline workers actually communicating, and frontline workers and middle management understanding why is this important? Why do we do this?
yeah,
Not over explaining or being overbearing or anything, but just explaining why do you have to do this in a very low practical sense. It's because we have to do these things because, well, in Denmark and other European countries, it's actually the law to
right.
work time and attendance.
Yeah, that's a
And
motivation.
you have to keep those records 5 years back.
Right.
So it's actually legislation that tells us to do it. Um, so obviously much easier to communicate. It's because it's the law.
Yeah,
Um,
which takes discretion out of anyone's hands. It's
yeah,
just that
I
is
mean
what it
it's
is.
just yeah, the government.
Yeah, there's a lot of that coming around. We won't go anywhere near that.
No, good stuff.
Yeah, so it's that's quite interesting. And then the this ties into what Share Three have done is we've identified that there are these stages for well-being that people go through, and it's become part of our framework for looking at these issues. And it's not enough to just be somewhere, or what we would call the presence aspect of it. When you are present, you can get stuff done, obviously, that you can't get done when you're not present. It's very, very simple. But the second bit is that purpose, because presence is not enough. There needs to be a clearly defined purpose, which is exactly what you were saying for the why.
Yeah.
It's so important, isn't it?
And that's a generational thing because that wouldn't have happened
Okay.
10 years ago.
No, because command and control would be you do what you say.
Yeah.
Do what I say, sorry.
When I first started in cleaning, it was
Yeah.
just do as you're told or you don't have a job.
Right.
And then we could always find someone with two arms and two legs to do the job.
Yeah.
And they,
Okay.
they might be out the door again in 2 days, but then we would just find another one.
Right.
And that was the reality of it. Because
Right.
there were so many people looking for jobs, so we could just pick the next one.
Right.
And because cleaning was not seen, still to some degree isn't seen as a highly skilled profession,
Uh-huh.
we could just pick one out of the litter and then just it sounds horrible when I say it now, and I would never go about it in that way today, but that was just the reality of it.
Yeah, no, I think it's worth saying,
Without
even though it's
without saying it
uncomfortable.
was a different time, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but it was.
Bringing out all the cliches
Yeah,
today. Nice. I
yeah.
love it.
So I think that's a generational thing also.
Yeah.
To
And now we
tell
don't
people
have the
why.
pick. We
No,
literally don't have that workforce to say you need a job and I can give it to you. Therefore, jump and say how and ask me how high.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think that's because we have a pipeline that has changed its messaging. This is a career option. I don't know. We're still in that middle point, aren't we? Haven't
Mm.
changed the message hugely. People still think it's a low skilled
Yeah.
position to be a cleaning operative. I think people understand that the industry itself is more varied than that.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
when you're in it, not looking in from the outside, you would never know the possibilities of it.
yeah, yeah,
There are industry bodies actually trying to, well, not fix that, but help that along the way with training and
yes.
with retraining and with finding out how can we attract the younger generation and actually retain them once they then enter the industry. It's not just because they are looking solely for a job, they're actually looking for a career.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm going to throw something controversial into the mix, which perhaps we shouldn't have when we're recording. But I have a theory that all of our approaches at the moment aren't fully recognizing that people live two lives now, one physically and one digitally. There hasn't really been a coming together of how we now work in our real world, but we also now have to exist in a digital world that plays by the same rules but also different ones, and also isn't real life. It's
Yeah,
a digital reconstruction as close as we can get it to real life so that we can get our jobs done.
yeah.
And I'm worried that we're not bringing those two together in a cohesive way, and that's having an effect on our well-being. We already know that if you spend too much time in your digital world, your body packs up. I
Yeah.
mean, that's not controversial. I think no one's going to disagree with me there.
That's a fact. Yeah.
So, I mean, how are you finding it at the moment, bringing your real world, your physical world, and your digital world together? Do they feel like one to you?
No,
Okay.
they don't. But again, it's about finding that balance to also tell your cleaners or tell your operatives or your frontline workers that when you're at work, that's one thing. And then when you leave work, that's another thing.
Okay.
And yes, you have to use an app when you're at work, but that's only for work. So you don't really have to mix your digital self with your physical self.
I'm going to throw in a challenge there, if I might. Just
Yeah,
literally the one example, because mostly I agree with that. But you know, when you're on the bus or whatever, and you check your schedule, you're doing that on your own time. That's your physical world now combining with your digital world. And then I miss my bus stop because I'm trying to get my schedule up. So I'm already walking 20 minutes back and I ruin my
Yeah,
day. These are the kind of things that I can't see a workaround because we have to merge our physical and our digital worlds in so many ways now because we've got phones.
yeah. But to me, that sounds like a scheduling problem
Okay, oh, talk to me.
because I mean, if people have, especially with commercial work, most domestic work is also recurring. So I
Yeah.
mean, you would know probably where you're going from one week to the other. Um,
Okay.
So it shouldn't really come as a surprise where you have to go tomorrow or the next day, because you were there last week, same day,
Well,
just a
when you
different
work
time.
over sites and things, I've got a few examples in my head just where actually looking at where you're supposed to be and do what tasks you've got that day is often done outside of work time. Is that the problem? Should we be, I don't know, should we be more strict on when they have access to these things, or is that flexibility and adaptation in practice?
I think it's an adaptation. I don't think you can have one without the other,
Okay.
because people will sit on the bus anyway and look at their screens from if they're looking at Instagram or they're looking at their CleanManager app, doesn't really make that much of a difference because they're on their phone anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we normally tell people as well. I mean, they will clock in and they will clock out using the phone that they carry around anyway. So
Yeah.
it's just part of it. I mean, it's glued to our hands all the time anyway.
So we are
Um,
merging our physical and digital lives in that sense. We absolutely are. There's no separation between me, me and my phone. There's no separation.
no, and it
That's
gets even worse. I
interesting.
mean, it gets
Yeah.
even worse.
So a
Yeah.
lot of the advice that we get is to reduce screen time.
Mm.
And I always find this one really difficult. It's like if I could live in a forest, I would, but that's not my job. That's just not how it
Like
works.
the opposite, actually.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. In fact, seeing myself in this little square
Yeah.
means I'm like, I'm working, I'm good, I'm good. But I suppose what I'm getting at is leading to the other question we've got on the list, which is what is the difference between a digitally functional organization merging the two beautifully in a way that is so healthy that there's nothing but well-being to see in front of you? What's the difference between that health and one that's not healthy even if it's functional?
Mm. So
What is the separator?
to me, there's a distinction between operational health and human
Hmm.
health.
Okay.
Because operational health can mean that there's no human health. So the operations can run
Yeah.
smoothly, but the
Yeah.
people are suffering.
Yeah.
Or the people just do their job, but the operation suffers because no one knows what's being done and no one actually knows what they're doing, because everything is based on a spreadsheet or a WhatsApp thread
Yeah.
that intertwines with the Christmas party thread. And yeah, not
Yeah.
GDPR compliant and just a whole mess of threads all over the place, emails.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I think there's something to be said for the distinction between humans and then the operations. And
Yeah.
if we can merge those, um, so an operation can be digitally functional
Yeah.
with a bare minimum of systems or just a
Yeah.
framework, depends on how
Yeah.
you structure it.
Yeah.
But if we
I'm
can merge
following.
the operational health with the human health, um, in that in part has to do with the operations team in the office planning the rotas, making sure that they speak to people. And this is where the two merge, I think. So the planners, they populate all the rotas, make sure that people are going to the right places,
Hmm.
but they have the human aspect of it as well. So they call the people that they're planning the work for to say, I've planned this and that. I
Right.
know you have I know your son has violin lessons on Wednesday afternoons. Does this work for you? Please check your calendar and then report back to me if it doesn't work and I'll change it.
Yeah. Two parts of the role, isn't it? It's the
Yeah,
relational part of the role and the operational part of the
yeah.
role.
And
Yeah,
that
that
will
makes
tie
sense.
the frontline workers closer to the operations or the admin team as well.
Mm.
So you're not just a number. You actually have a job. Maybe not a
Yeah.
career as such, but you have a job, you have a workplace. You're not just cleaning for some company that might be called this or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And that way, everyone's a lot more aware and can observe in real time where the health of organizations sits. You can see it fluctuate because nobody's completely healthy all the time. Things come out of left field. But the interesting thing about that whole idea, which my brain just suddenly went, oh no, that's what we're about to AI out of this, isn't it? That's the problem. We're going to operationalize. We're not going to relationize. Making up words now. It's the relationship side of thing that's going to go, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where tech and software really needs to find out where AI can be implemented to support the people and not
Yeah.
just the operations or the top level management.
It
So
feels like we're engineering the people out.
yeah, but they still have to do all the work
Yeah.
because the way that we know robots and cobotics, they're not ready to take over the cleaning just yet.
I had a
Not
wonderful
fully anyway.
conversation. Yeah,
Um,
I had a wonderful conversation because in the news there's been a lot of advancements made for humanoids. I had a wonderful conversation where that was actually picked up as a really positive thing. We don't have a pipeline problem because we'll just get humanoids. And I thought, but the most human thing in the world is to care for your environment. If you
mm,
remove all human elements, that's not a cared for environment. That's
yeah,
just clean.
yeah,
And I don't know that should we be alarmed?
not yet,
Okay, because it
I
doesn't feel
think.
very healthy.
No, it doesn't. And I think I think humanoids have a place in the world.
Do you?
Like when you go and eat sushi and it's a robot taking
Right.
your order instead of a waitress. I think that's hilarious actually.
Yeah.
My kids
Yeah.
love it as well. So I think
There's a novelty and an
that's
entertainment
good.
value,
Yeah.
isn't there? Yeah.
And that's just it. We need it to not just be a novelty, but if we want to implement it in real life, in the
Yeah.
workplace or instead of a lone worker
Yeah. Yeah.
walking
Maybe.
10,000 steps in an office building in the middle of the night.
Mm.
That could be one place for a humanoid to actually do the work, or a robotic scribe jobber, um,
Yeah. Yeah. I just wonder
scrubber.
because there's no discretion in it, is there? If a humanoid comes across a distressed person in the toilets, they're not going to do anything about it, are they?
Just clean around them.
They would, wouldn't they? And I've been comforted by a cleaner in a toilet because I've had some bad news. So I'm not saying that that's part of the job. I'm not trying to make them responsible for it, but I do know that that's one of the relational benefits to having humans in your workplaces. And I feel like that language is all coming out of all of the conversations that are being had, which doesn't seem very healthy to me. And if technology is going to remove health, and well-being from the physical space, then we've lost part of the purpose. What's the point? Why do we have technology? It's supposed to make humans' lives better.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't have the same conversations around plumbers or HVAC technicians
No, no,
or
we don't.
that whole group or that whole industry. We just don't have the same conversations, which
What
must
do
mean
people
that
have
people
against
think that cleaning
cleaners?
is easy.
Yeah.
So cleaners can
Okay.
just be replaced by either a humanoid or a cobot, or
Wow, we have a
something in the middle.
cultural vendetta against cleaners or
We do,
something. Not
we
like
do.
it's not malicious. It's
Yeah.
not, there's no evilness. I'm not saying
No, no,
suddenly
no, not
people are
on
horrid.
purpose, not on
But the
purpose.
system has a real devaluing problem with the act of cleaning
Yeah.
and the people doing it.
Look at COVID. I mean, cleaners were all of a sudden seen as essential workers, and they were the most important people in the hospital, except for the
Mm,
nurses and doctors, obviously.
yeah,
But cleaning was seen as essential work, and that's just vanished. That's just gone with the wind. Um,
because you can't value what you don't see.
yeah,
And cleaning is all about making sure you don't see it.
yes, I am, however, a huge advocate for daytime cleaning.
Yeah, I
So
think I am
bring the
too.
people in
Okay,
during the daytime. So don't hide them away as lone workers in office buildings, but bring them in during the day so that people can see them.
right.
Yes, you might have to say, no, not right now because I'm on a call, or please don't empty my bin because there's something important in there, or something like that. But bring the people in during the day so that they can see actual people working and actual working people can see an actual working cleaner.
You
And
see the work, yeah, and that comes back to presence.
yeah,
So in the framework, obviously, if you don't have presence, there's that you aren't able to get the work done.
yeah,
In the cleaning industry, that's ironic because you can have presence, get the work done, and still be given no presence,
yeah,
no acknowledgement of your presence.
yeah,
And then you've got this idea that presence isn't enough. There needs to be purpose because purpose is that motivator. It's the kinetic energy that moves you forward when you have purpose. But then I think technology jumps on in because the third requirement for well-being is to see that you're making progress. That's
mm,
the bit that gives you the feedback loop that says this
yeah,
is worthwhile and you're reaching your purpose. And there's a real place for technology there, isn't there? Like what can
indeed.
technology do if it can't tell you results?
Yeah.
Data. We've got all this data. How accurate do you think data is at the moment in the way that it's collected? And I know I didn't give you that question, so I apologize.
No, no worries.
Sorry.
I think
Do you still a problem with that?
yes, I think
Okay.
so because all the
Okay.
data depends on the humans still.
Right.
So all the humans have to report back all the data that's going back to the clients or to the data analysts, as it were.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and if
Back to
that
that one.
data is if that data is no good, then the results won't be any good, and then you'll report back wrong things to the client. So until we eliminate human error from the process of reporting back the data to the actual people working with the data or processing the data, it'll never be good.
Yeah,
So
which means we're giving them the wrong frameworks to transfer that information across. If
yeah,
people can't fill in the form, is it the form's problem or the person's problem?
yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
the form.
probably forms. Yeah,
I would say it's probably the form, which we kind of know as an industry. User experience obviously is a huge part of what we do, so we know that that's an issue and improvements are being made. But I wonder, and I'm now looking at the last question, which I actually did give you, because I was trying to be useful, which is if a workplace was designed around human clarity instead of system convenience, what would change first?
I think that top management would have to bring in more people from day one to make these decisions, to implement
No.
any technology. It doesn't have to be software, but any technology. Why have we bought this robot? Is it going to replace me? Is the cleaner thinking? No, it's not. We've just moved your tasks to somewhere else, so you don't have to carry around buckets and a mop and do all the tedious work because the robot can do that. So you can spend your time actually doing the work that people will see.
There's a lot of
Um,
assumptions in that, isn't there? There's a
yeah,
lot of assumptions. This it's tedious work. I don't know.
it
That's I
is.
mean, I think it is, obviously.
Scrubbing
But
the same floors 3 times a week, that is tedious work. I've done it myself.
yeah, no, I hear you. It's a good assumption. I'm sure it's evidence, but it is an assumption, isn't it? And so we're changing our systems based on that assumption.
Yeah.
Um, so bringing in people early, bringing in support and technology as early as possible in the design process. Is that right?
Yeah, it's designing the processes around the people and not
Yeah.
making the people, not trying to fit the people into the
Yeah.
box that you bought
Yeah. Yeah.
expensively. And
It's
now they have to fit in it.
and it's always
So
expensive.
it all comes back to actually finding out what you want to do with your technology. What do we want to do